Morning, good evening. Welcome everyone to this webinar, which I'm also very pleased to contribute. We have in the agenda so 9:30 to 11 a.m. But I promise you we will be through it in less than 1 hour. Promise you. So my name is Rosario Di Lorenzo, Vice President at AnalyticsCreator, and since 2009, I have the honor to support the global partners in their business growth journey. And with me, I have one of our trusted partner, Robert Book, Managing Director of BI Automation, who gained nearly 20 years of deep experience in BI and analytics. So welcome, Robert.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
And I'm very happy that you could convince your son, Tobias Book, to be our beginners today. So thank you to join us, Tobias.
Thank you.
So before we jump into the demo session, I would like to take a moment to briefly introduce our company and the technology. This will only require about 5 minutes. Sorry. AnalyticsCreator is based in Munich and was founded in 2017. But it was being a real authority in automating data for more than 15 years. Indeed, AnalyticsCreator was initially a code framework before it evolved into a user interface-based product. We are very passionate in helping data engineers to create, simplify, and automate the data warehouses with our technology, which it demonstrated so far to save up to 60% of their time. Currently, we serve over 120 customers and focused in expanding our footprint in Europe and APAC, and this with the strong support of 50 value-added partners worldwide, like BI Automation. Well, with us, which with us also help data engineers, right, to reduce on the repetitive tasks that have to deal every day, while the industry, through software stacks or platforms, try to do the same by creating some useful tools to support their job and challenges. We realized that the reality proved that the workload on engineering just increased. We all know that, which is okay if a company for some reason decides to go that way. However, automation seems to be the real solution for data engineers and the deciders, and probably the most convenient way to save part of company's expense, and above all, to get the data and resources under control. So we want to suggest the world to use AnalyticsCreator. You do not only get the most agile and high adaptable data automation technology out there, but you also gain a high level of technological independence. You will understand the why during the demo. But let's deep dive a bit more. So here view of AnalyticsCreator's architecture in a nutshell. The blue frames in this picture represent really the heart and the power of this technology, which for sure the wizards or data modeling part or scripts are probably the most agile and powerful features in the industry. You have to see it. Looking at the other boxes, you simply realize how well AnalyticsCreator harmonizes with the Microsoft stack and how interfaces seamlessly with other technologies. You get in minutes a good idea how this works. So I love this slide a lot. It makes me proud whenever I see it. For the one of you living out of Central Europe, Bark is a leading business research analyst specialized on data business intelligence and analytics. You have to know they use over 18 KPIs to measure the most important data automation software in Europe. And this by asking the customer base directly. You see, from 18 KPIs, AnalyticsCreator was recognized 11 times as the leader, and 7 times we were scored between a 9 and 10. So looking into where we were leading those positions, automation, adaptability is such a big word in our planet. Connectivity, this is one of those where it makes us really proud. And looking at the customer base, just a short abstract, we are so proud to mention one of the most important and long-lasting customer that have the privilege and we the honor to have them as a customer, and they using our platform. So I even think I got it. I did it in less than 5 minutes. So I would say now it's demo time. Right, let's jump right straight into it. And Tobias, Robert, I would like to give the word to you.
Okay. Thank you, Rosario, for that really cool introduction. So, as you learned, my name is Robert Buck. In English, you would say Robert Buck. So the Americans would say Buck, and yeah, that's it. I would like to introduce for 5 minutes a little bit what you will see in the workshop, because this is really, you need to understand the full process. But some words about our company, what we do. So BI, so my company BI Automation is located in Vienna, Austria. We have been a partner with AnalyticsCreator since 2020, but I have to say that I know Peter Smoley, the CEO, I think exactly since 2017, 2018. We are using AnalyticsCreator in all our products. We have customers from 200 employees to 30,000 employees in all branches. We build trustful data platforms for BI and analytics. And also we have capabilities to build state-of-the-art dashboards and reports based on different BI platforms. Yeah, that means Power BI or Tableau or Excel Cubed. You have seen this nice overview about the general architecture, and I'm not going to explain here everything. But I just want to mention that you see, for instance, the Azure Data Factory, Databricks. Yeah, so we cannot cover in one workshop everything. But I give you some details about the SSIS services, the SQL Server Integration Services from Microsoft, how we use them. So that means we start with this holistic data model from AnalyticsCreator. And so first of all, I have to say that there is a repository database where everything is stored what you need. Yeah. So what do you need to build a data warehouse? You need a source. That means you get data from a database or a flat file. In our demo, we have both integrated. Then you start in AnalyticsCreator a wizard, and this wizard is taking care of the first metadata. So a metadata directory will be generated, and if you import the data, you build the connector, you import the data, then all these imported data are stored in a database. And so first of all, you store all that information in the repository database. Then you start modeling, transforming, enriching data. So you need to understand that the data that are coming from the sources are in another structure than we need in the data warehouse. Data warehouse, we need the dimensional model. Okay. The next step, if you click, there is a very important button that says Synchronize DBH, and all the time you click this Synchronize DBH button, the repository will be updated with the new information. When you are ready with everything, you need to deploy the data warehouse. And there are now the following options. So first of all, if you start the deployment process for the first time, you tell AnalyticsCreator, please, this is a deployment package. So this is also stored in this repository. Then SSIS jobs are created. That means these are these ETL jobs, extract, transfer, load. And the deployment process really begins to write SQL Server Integration Service packages. That means you can open, you will see it also in the workshop, we will open it with Visual Studio 2019. And then to fill a tabular model, there will be also created from this deployment process a tabular model. First of all, only the metadata, and then we start the SSIS job to fill the tabular model with data. And at the end, we just want to see if everything worked correct, if data are there, and we will visualize it with a Power BI dashboard, very simple one. These are the tables so that you get a first idea about what we are importing. So you see on the left-hand side, there is a very small customer database with a customer ID, customer name. Then we have these orders here. That means they ordered at a certain point of time. They placed an order. The order was shipped, and it was shipped to a city, a state, a country, and a region. In the order details, so hopefully the customer is not only ordering one item, so hopefully more items. So the products that he has ordered, you will find in this orders product table. And finally, these products are related in a 1-to-n relationship, and the products are, let's say, the articles with a category and the subcategory and the product name. Yeah, this is what we import. There's also one file which is called returns. That means, you know, it from Amazon, when you order something, you sometimes send something back. That means we will also import a CSV file with returns, because sometimes we get the returns from another system. Okay, this is somehow the last one. So if everything ran fine, then you will see. Then we will create this dashboard. It is a 15 minutes job to do it, but I have prepared it at the beginning. And what you can see here is the relation between profit and sales. Yeah, so each point is one customer. Do we make profit or not? And here we have the categories and subcategories. And if I click on one customer, then I will see exactly what he has ordered. Yeah. Then I head over to my son Tobias. I'm very proud. He started with AnalyticsCreator. You will not believe it. 3 weeks ago, I said to him, please accept the challenge. You want to prove yourself, so please do it. And you will see he will do a really great job. Enjoy it. And I hand now over to Tobias. Thank you.
Wow, 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and really, it's deserved the title of this webinar, beginners. Fantastic.
Yeah. Just to say that what AnalyticsCreator is open, and what we have done is we simply have created a repository. So because the repository take time, and please, Tobias.
Yes. Right, so hello everyone, first of all, from my side as well. So we're now in our new repository, and the first thing we do in pretty much any project is create our connectors. We have to add our connectors for the data source. So here on the left, you can see you have the connectors here, which is obviously empty at this point. So we're going to go ahead and add a connector. Now, AnalyticsCreator supports all different kinds of connector types. I think it's over 250 connector types. So these are just like the main selection, but you have all different kinds of options with AnalyticsCreator. It's quite impressive. So yeah, So as we already heard, we have two different types of connections. We have one database connection, and we also import a flat file. So I'm going to start with the database itself. So I'm going to call this SQL connector. And then down here, you see the connection string to the database. You will get the template by clicking on this template button. And then you just have to fill in the server name and the database name. So in order to save time, I have that written down. Then we'll get the database name. And then we can test the connection using this button right here. And you will see that the connection was successfully established. So we can save this connector. And then we can create our second connector to the CSV file. So this time it's CSV. And we just name it. Now you can see you have all different kind of options here. For example, you can set if the column names are set in the first row, and then you have a bunch of code page options. So you really have a lot of flexibility in here. But in this case, we actually don't need it. So we can just go ahead and save. And now we didn't tell the SCV connector where our file exactly is. So we have to add it as a source. So we will create a new source and we will set the path. And the path will be in here, the returns file. So it automatically sets the name of the source to the file name, and you can get the CSV structure with this button, and it will automatically create the columns. So you can see the file is very simple. It just contains the order ID that was returned. Then this return field is kind of useless because it just says yes in every data row. So it's quite poor data quality actually. But this is often what you deal with in real life as well. Right, so let's go back. And now we can use our magical data warehouse wizard that we talked about earlier. So we can just open it and then select the connector that we want to use. So we've created the two connectors. And now it shows every table and view that we have available in the data source. And we can select which ones we want to have in our data warehouse. So in our case, we want to have all of the views in the data warehouse. And then we can choose the SCV connector, and we can add the returns file as well. And now we just need to select which ones are facts and which ones are dimensions. So in this case, these two are going to be facts, the other ones are going to be dimensions. Then we can click next. So over here we have a bunch of options for naming conventions. There's nothing really we have to do here. Then over here we have all different kind of options. So for example, you can change the field names so they're all uppercase or all lowercase. You can set options for the schemas that are used and the steps that are taken within them. You can see that the wizard will create a snapshot dimension and a calendar dimension. So you will have a bunch of different options for the calendar dimension. For example, the minimum and maximum date. So for example, if you had a bunch of birth dates in one of the tables, you might want to lower this date because some people might be born before 1980. Right, so down here, we have a bunch of transformations options. So a bunch of transformations that can be done by default with the data. And by default, all of them are selected. In this case, we don't actually need any of them. So we're just going to select no defaults, and I'm going to click finish. And then the wizard will do its magic. And in a moment, we will see. All right, so now the data warehouse was created by the wizard. You can see it's really quite impressive. You have all of your layers here. You see all of the connections. So this is almost done actually. Yeah, so it's really quite impressive. So there's just a few little things we really have to do. So the first thing would be that the data quality, as I said, in the returns file is quite poor, and there might be some duplicate data sets. So we want to remove them. So I'm going to add a new transformation here. And it's going to be returns, and we can select the schema, which will stay in the import schema. And then you could click finish already and it will work, but you have a bunch of other options. I will show you this once. For example, you have some options for join types and references. You have a bunch of options. For example, this is naming conventions. And you can use, by default, this is selected friendly names. And also, once again, you have the option to use all uppercase or all lowercase field names and stuff like that. And then in here, you can once again do all the transformations. As I said already, we don't really need them. So I'm just going to click finish. Right. So now it's automatically created this table. It also automatically created this star view, which we don't need yet. So I'm going to delete it. And also we're going to right click and add all the columns. And then we're going to select this little distinct check mark here. So it will filter all the duplicate data sets. And we're going to hit save. And now we're going to synchronize the data warehouse.
That's the magic button I talked before.
Right. So now you can see we have added the transformation, but the historization is still going to the old table. So we're going to remove this. And we're going to add the historization to the new one. And the only thing we need to do is select the package. So in our case, it's the CSV package. And then you have a bunch of historizing type options, for example, SCD type and stuff like that. We're going to click finish. And we're going to click save. And now the table was historized successfully.
Robert, I know that we want to answer all questions at the end of the demo, but there's maybe one we would like to answer now. So in which way will the data store, the data vault or data vault 2.0?
Data are stored in this case in a simple Kimball model. And but if you want to go to Data Vault or Data Vault 2, then you have the option to do that also. But that's a different dimensional modeling, which is let's say more powerful, as you can do parallel imports with a Data Vault or Data Vault 2.0. But I would say that's not a beginner's data warehouse for beginners workshop. It is it is on a higher level. So I would really I would say please first build first a Kimball model and then you understand how to transform it into a Data Vault data model. And AnalyticsCreator is supporting that.
Okay, thank you. I hope the answer is the question was answered. Correct. Good. Thank you. Go on, right. Robert.
Yeah. Okay. Please.
Okay. So now all that's really left to do is we have to get the fact table into the core layer. So I'm gonna add the new transformation here. And it's gonna be type fact. It's gonna be in this schema, and the main table is going to be our fact table. Good. I'm going to click finish now. I already showed you the options. Okay, so now down here, we can join all the tables together. So I'm going to select all the other tables. So we have our returns here, and then we can reference the foreign key. Now, usually you always select like the key, and then you have the foreign key in the table. In this case, the returns table only really has the order ID, and it doesn't make sense to store a foreign key. We really just want the bit value if the data set was returned or not. So I'm just going to select this column here, and I'm going to convert this to a bit value. This always references the reference column in the code, just to explain.
Yeah, simple T is great.
All right, then I'm gonna add the other tables. So let's go with the orders. And now we can do what I said before, which is just select the key, and then we can have foreign key orders.
So this is the naming convention. I just want to explain. That means if you want that AnalyticsCreator know what to do, then you need to set the name to foreign key and then the table name. In this case, the orders, or in this case, the products.
All right, and the customers as well. Okay, so now you can see over here that per default on the key, the AnalyticsCreator has created this is null statement, so null values are replaced with 0, which makes sense for foreign keys. So we're just going to copy this down to the other keys. And then we still need to tell the software how to join the tables together. So we can do that in the reference statement over here.
So you can use here the alias. You can see that next to the table name, there is the table alias, and every join statement is really simple because you simply need to know is the table 1, the table 2, the table 3, the table 4 to join them together.
And then in here we will use table 3 because customers are, as you saw earlier, connected to the orders table. Gonna hit save. So this worked beautifully. Now we can add the rest of the columns. And we can see over here that we have an order date and a ship date. Usually you don't really store an order date and a ship date. You store a key and then you have a calendar dimension. That's what it's for. So we're going to rename this, again, naming convention. And AnalyticsCreator automatically offers in the statement a macro to convert the date into an ID. Okay, so now this is done, so we can click Save. And then we can look at, synchronize the data warehouse once again, and then we can look at what we just did. Okay, so as you can see, it worked pretty well. The only thing that we need to be careful with is that the calendar dimension one dimension can only be connected to one column at a time. So if we look at our fact table here, you can see that the order date is referenced by the calendar, but the ship date is not. So, but AnalyticsCreator has a very simple solution for this. You can just click here and create a new dimension based on calendar. And we're gonna name it ship date. We're going to click Save, then synchronize the data warehouse once again. And there we go. So all of the connections have been made already. You can see all of the connections really well. You can also look at, for example, if you want to look at products over here, you can click Filter, and then you can see the data lineage of that particular view. And also, AnalyticsCreator has automatically referenced the calendar dimension, so there was no need to sort of drag and drop or select a connection. So it really just happens automatically, and it's really well shown visibly, in my opinion. Okay, so now we're done. All there's left to do is deploy the data warehouse. So we're going to click Deployment. We're going to create a new deployment package. Let's call it First Deploy. Okay, and then over here we can select the directory in which the deployment should be saved. I'm not going to change it for mine because it's already correct. And now we have a bunch of different options over here, which we'll talk about in a minute. For now, it's important. You can see the AnalyticsCreator is creating the DACPack file, but it's not deploying it. So we want to deploy it as well. So we're going to hit these two checkboxes. Then also we want to deploy our SSIS packages. So we're going to select the SSIS packages over here, and we're going to select deploy down here. The database name and the server name is already set, so that's really cool. But then we also want to deploy our tabular model. So we're going to copy the server name down here because it's the same server. And then we're going to use a similar database name. I'm going to say, just going to add tabular at the back. Right, and then we select create script, and going to use the credentials of the current user, and we're going to create it during deployment. Okay, so now this is pretty much done. Now we can hit save, and we can deploy our data warehouse, and you will see the log over here.
Okay, as the deployment process takes some time, I will introduce some functionalities. So you have seen we have clicked here this SSIS package. Yeah, if you want to go in the cloud, then you have to select these ones. So this is let's say the possibility to go also in the cloud with the data warehouse. Then what you also see is here down below, you see the create Power Pivot model. Yeah. So whoever worked with Excel and used this functionality, you can create it. You can also create a Tableau model. So the software Tableau is also supported, and you can create a click script as well. We are working with on the Microsoft stack. We want to deploy a tabular model. It's also possible to deploy it not as tabular, to deploy it as cube, so as OLAP cube. And then you would go for the multi-dimensional OLAP deployment option, and then a cube is created. What else can I say? Yeah, I would say, yeah, everything. Yeah, important is everything what you need. Yeah, is here. So there's nothing hidden. Yeah, you do not need to go with a right mouse click anywhere else, and you do not need to go in any other menu. So if you feel comfortable with when you use it the first time, it's much information, yes, but when you use it regularly, then you know exactly, okay, I need to click this option, and this option, and everything is here on place. Yeah. the deployment log, some words about the deployment log. If you have a look here on the deployment log, then if an error occurs, then you would see here also that there is an error. And now we can see in the last step we are done. Yeah, so there's a timestamp. It is done, and I would say I hand over to Tobias.
Okay. So now AnalyticsCreator has successfully deployed the data warehouse. So if we look at the server, we can see that, let's refresh the databases. Right, and I think this is where we are. So looking at this, you can see AnalyticsCreator has created all of the tables and views that we wanted. And if you look here, you can see that there's no data inside yet, because as we already discussed, it also created this SSIS job. So I'm gonna pull this down here. So this is the deployment folder. And you can see there's the project file, so we can open this with Visual Studio.
So everything is already coded, just have to load it. Okay.
And now you can see all of the packages over here have been created. We can take a quick look inside of them. So there's nothing really we have to do in here. Just have to wait till Visual Studio has loaded correctly. Okay. AnalyticsCreator has already automatically created all of the packages. The only thing we really have to do is say execute.
There's one general workflow package, and if you execute it, then everything will be executed.
And you can see that everything works successfully. So we're going to stop debugging. And now if we look in here, you will see that now we have all the data inside. Okay, so now I will hand over and we will take a look at the data.
Okay. So the next step is that you would fill the tabular model, yeah, because everything is done. But just to save time, I have already created a sales dashboard. It's this one, and this is already done. But so that you can believe me that that this really works. So you see, here is the calendar dimension. Here is the snapshot. Here is the customer. Here is the team orders. So if we look into the data structure, then you see, okay, this is a direct connection to the tabular. To the tabular model, and the fact this is this dimensional modeling. Fact table is in the middle, everything else is around. Yeah, and if we simply want to create any visualization, let's take this donut chart and let's go to the sales value, for instance, which is here in the which is here inside. Then we see, okay, it's not really doing that what I want. I want to go for the sum and not the counting. And then we need something like the product category. And then we additionally put in, for instance, the product subcategory. Yeah, okay. So you see, we are connected to the tabular model. It works. And so I have recreated, let's say, this one. This is what I was talking about. We have here the profit, we have here sales. If I click on one of these dots, then you can see, this was the customer ML177 7.5, and he bought for 27,000, and it made a profit of 8,000. And yeah, and the self-service enabled. Yeah, the tabular model is capable to that 2,000, 3,000 people parallel can go on such a dashboard, can connect to a tabular model. This is a really enterprise dashboard that is used in many big companies. Okay, and the last one, that's the last one I would like to show you. Yeah, what have we accomplished in the workshop now within this 30 minutes, I would say. We built a data warehouse based on the Microsoft stack. We built a multi-dimensional data model designed for high performance. Historization functionality is inside, slowly changing dimension 2. So I would say the best historization. We visualized the data lineage. We deployed the tabular model, and we connected the Power BI dashboard to the tabular model. So thank you for your attention.
Fantastic. Thank you, Robert. Great. Thank you.
Robert.
It's I honestly, Tobias, should I really believe you that you did that in three weeks? It is impressive. You know, I know that AnalyticsCreator is not that difficult to learn, but I'm really impressed. So thank you so much. I liked really a lot. Good job. As Robert, you must maybe be behind him a bit as a teacher, etc. But you know, great job.
Proud.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're proud of you.
Okay, thank you.